Tonight, more options for shoppers and businesses this Victoria Day.
We're also a small business, so it costs us a lot more to stay open on the Monday.
A recent move by the Ford government allowing shops to stay open throughout the May long weekend for the first time. Breathing new life into Ottawa's historic ByWard Market.
We were here last year in the tents, so it's really exciting to see all the work that's been done here.
A new vendor village on George Street as officials look to boost business in the ByWard. And playing with the pros.
Giving these kids a chance to grow and have more opportunity to get better at the sport.
A special NFL flag football tournament here in Ottawa brings out two superstars. Good evening. We begin tonight with a July 1st deadline to review the Canada-U.S.-Mexico trade agreement. New U.S. tariffs are set to take effect next week, this time on Canadian mushrooms. As CTV's Jeremie Charron reports, the U.S. is the largest export destination for Canadian mushrooms, and the new levies will hurt the industry.
So we got a room of creminis here, mini bellas, cafe. They've got
it's massive and modern.
This is about 4,300 square feet of growing space.
But family-run, this Ottawa area mushroom farm grows, harvests, and packages in-house. Carleton Mushrooms produces
300,000 pounds a week right now.
But new U.S. tariffs set to be imposed on Canadian mushrooms Monday will take a toll on Mike Medeiros' business, even though his mushrooms stay in Canada.
40% of the mushrooms in Canada are shipped to the U.S. And so what's going to happen as tariffs increase going to the U.S., it may keep more mushrooms within Canada, which then it would flood our market.
A fact sheet released this week by the U.S. Department of Commerce showed Canadian mushrooms will face new tariffs of up to 5%, citing unfair government subsidies.
They're the same in the United States as they are in Canada.
Known as countervailing duties, the tariffs are imposed on imports the U.S. deems are being unfairly subsidized. Similar measures have been used to tariff Canadian softwood lumber.
We've always been operating under the rules and regulations of the free and fair trade between Canada and the U.S. And so the reason that they identified this, I think, is really that they've not been able to find anything else.
Now, mushroom farms like this one, just the latest example of a clear signal being sent by the Trump administration targeting Canada's agricultural sector.
Ultimately, the U.S. farmer is very powerful politically. There's a broad trend to look at agricultural product flowing into the United States and apply tariffs where the U.S. Deems it important to do so.
Medeiros says this move will have an immediate impact on the Canadian mushroom industry, which exports almost exclusively to the U.S., and could force him to start producing less.
Once we cut back production, we would definitely have to look at cutting back staff to keep payroll in check.
Jeremie Charron, CTV News, Ottawa.
Cut back a room,
Well, in Walter Cup action this afternoon, it was another close overtime game for the Ottawa Charge and the Montreal Victoire for Game 2 at Place Belle.
Here's a look at Flaherty, scores! Big Flaherty, the overtime hero!
The Victoire one step closer to the Walter Cup after beating the Charge today. 2-1 is the final in overtime. They take a commanding 2-0 series lead. Game 3 is in Ottawa on Monday at the Canadian Tire Centre. Puck drop for that one set for 6 p.m. More retail businesses are now able to stay open for Victoria Day Monday. It will mark the first May-long weekend that malls and stores have the option to open across Ontario after the Ford government announced legislation earlier this year. CTV's Kimberley Johnson has been speaking to some Ottawa area businesses today about their plans. Kimberley.
Austin, many small businesses I spoke with say despite the change, they plan to be closed for the holiday Monday as the government looks to give more options to shoppers.
The doors of Plato's Closet will stay closed on Monday, despite having the option to be open for the entire long weekend for the first time.
It costs us a lot more to stay open on the Monday. It's like time and a half.
Earlier this year, the Ford government announced it would allow retailers to be open for Victoria Day and Family Day in Ontario.
I think for small businesses, it can be a little bit more challenging because you have to pay people a lot more to stay open.
Manager Darla Cowls says this can be one of the store's biggest weekends, so they want staff to be able to enjoy some time off once the weekend shopping rush is done.
To give our staff just a little bit of a break. They work really hard, so we just want to give them the day off.
While some are choosing to close for the holiday Monday as usual, many businesses plan to take up the new opportunity to keep their hours, including malls and several large retailers.
It's fine. It gives businesses an extra day to sell products and services and make money. It's also good from a consumer perspective because it offers more convenience.
All the power to anybody who wants to do it, I think.
The provincial government says this is about creating more choice for families while supporting businesses and staff who want to work.
This is the first year that it's being done, so a lot of businesses will probably give it a try, and then they'll gauge it and decide whether they want to open next year.
This retail analyst notes that since being open is voluntary, shoppers should make sure that they know the stores they want to go to will be participating.
I think that's amazing because lately, especially during COVID times and after COVID times, a lot of businesses suffered. We really need to boost business, boost economy.
I won't be shopping. I just feel bad for the people that have to work instead of getting a long weekend.
I think that it's financially probably good for the stores. However, everybody deserves a break.
In previous years, not all retailers have been forced to shut on the holiday Monday. For example, businesses in the ByWard Market, the Glebe and Lansdowne have had exceptions. The province says this latest move is about giving all businesses the chance to stay open and employees the chance to work if they choose. Austin?
CTV's Kimberley Johnson reporting live for us tonight. Kimberley, thank you very much. And a reminder about the closures here in Ottawa. On Victoria Day, City Hall and all client service centres will be closed. There will be no garbage or recycling collection on Monday. Pickup will be delayed by a day next week. All Ottawa Public Library branches and daycare centres, those will be closed. And OC Transpo buses and the LRT will run on a Sunday schedule on Monday. And as we just heard, several malls, they will be open along with most grocery stores, LCBO and beer store locations. We do have a full list of closures online, CTV News Ottawa.ca. Well, the search is underway this weekend in Mont-Tremblant for Liam Toman, a 22-year-old man who was last seen in February of 2025. A K-9 unit and dozens of volunteers are combing new areas in the search, and his family is doing everything in its power to ensure his name and face is known. CTV's Denise Roberts reports.
All across Tremblant Village are posters, wristbands and flyers with Liam Toman's name and face. His family are here once again to refresh the search effort.
And now we're introducing the blue wristbands. And this is our circle of strength. And the strength comes from all of the community, all of the supporters that have been giving us the strength.
That community of support has widened to include friends, strangers, and some very determined canines from Search and Rescue Canada, a volunteer organization that trains dogs in cadaver detection.
We can provide you resources that not a lot of people have, so if we can do that and be there for the family, it's just really our goal.
The dogs were joined today by more than 90 volunteers, combing a new search area outside the village. But as skilled as these dogs are, there is very little information for them to go on. Liam Toman was last seen on this surveillance footage, leaving a bar at 3:20 a.m. on February 2nd, 2025. He never made it back to his hotel. His wallet was found in a parking lot a month later. Since his disappearance, his family has made the 6-hour trip from Whitby, Ontario to Mont-Tremblant more than 17 times to aid in the search.
It hits your heart because you're coming back and you don't want to come, but we're coming for Liam.
The family is working closely with SQ investigators, and a $50,000 reward has been set up. The family has also lobbied the town to have more camera surveillance in the village, something they say could have helped them find Liam.
There's been some changes in the security protocols and that, new surveillance cameras, everything else, and that's a win for us.
Liam's phone was never found, and the family is working with a digital forensic expert to trace it. The ground search will continue tomorrow, and the Tomans say they will continue to return here as long as it takes.
Any parent would do whatever they need to do to find their child.
And you keep moving because you know you're going to find the answers and you're going to solve this. We know we're going to find Liam.
Denise Roberts, CTV News.
Well, time now for our first look at the weather forecast, and it was a beautiful day here in Ottawa. A little bit of sprinkled showers in the downtown core at least, and some other parts of the city experiencing that as well. You can see that chance of showers currently. 20 degrees right now, though, and we do have a warm-up that is going to continue. 11 degrees is the low tonight in Ottawa. Pretty stark contrast in Bancroft. 5 degrees there for tonight. Tonight's low in Gatineau, 8 degrees, clear conditions. And then tomorrow warming up and getting around the 22-degree mark with mostly sunny conditions. So a beautiful weekend in store for Eastern Ontario and Western Quebec. 22 degrees is the high tomorrow in Gatineau as well. Ottawa police have closed a busy intersection in Westboro for what is being called an infrastructure failure. The intersection of Carling and Kirkwood Avenues closed around 3:30 this afternoon. It remains closed this hour. Police say it appears to be a water main break and no injuries have been reported. As for how long the intersection will remain closed to traffic, that remains unclear. We have reached out to the city, but we have not received a response. Well, the ByWard Market is hoping to bring some new energy to its streets this spring with a new vendor village filled with local makers, food and flowers, creating new opportunities for local entrepreneurs and bringing some more activity to a traditionally isolated area of George Street. CTV's Josh Marano joins us live now with more on what visitors can find here. Josh.
Yeah, Austin, as part of the city's 200th anniversary celebrations, the new vendor village features pop-up shops on George Street, turning it into a hub for local business this spring as the city hopes to create more foot traffic in the market. It's a fresh and colorful start in the market for Darwin Radke, owner of Ottawa By Design.
We've been to Baby Canada for 22 years, and with the vendor village being new and everything, we decided change our name to better reflect the entire product line.
Still keeping with the original baby onesie designs while adding some Ottawa-themed streetwear, Radke is one of a dozen local entrepreneurs setting up shop in these bright bins in the new vendor village.
We all want to have people come down and see us. This is a totally new location, so there may be some slight trepidation, but I mean, it looks so beautiful.
Located on George Street, shops selling market-style giftware and artisan crafts now occupy the once vacant space, according to some, bringing back some much-needed color and energy to the market.
I like the glow up. It's vibrant, and you'll see the diversity in the entrepreneurs that are here and the work that's being shared.
It'd be a great addition to the market, yeah, and they're kind of pleasant, easy for the guys to lock up and don't have to cart stuff home with them. It's a very, very good idea.
The city says the goal is to get more people exploring more of the market while shining a light on small businesses and creating more spillover for local restaurants and brick and mortars.
The market's had its challenges over the last few years going back to the pandemic, but last year we saw a 50% increase in visitor traffic, and people are investing in the ByWard Market. They're opening up new restaurants and hotels and other businesses, and we're seeing the results of that.
We were here last year in the 10th, so it's really exciting to see all the work that's been done.
The vendor village is expected to run through the fall, operating weekly from Wednesday to Sunday. And for Radke, he says he's looking forward to help breathe new life into the market.
This is just the start of something we hope is moving forward, something that's going to be a permanent fixture in the market.
This weekend is the soft launch of the village, according to the ByWard Market District Authority, with the official opening set for May 20th. The vendor village will also be open on the holiday Monday. Austin.
Yeah, it was busy in the ByWard Market today, Josh. Always is when the sun is shining. CTV's Josh Marano reporting live for us tonight. Well, the Minister of National Defence is set to hold an update on the uncertain future of the Canadian Forces snowbirds next week. An announcement is scheduled for Tuesday at the Canadian Forces base in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, from Minister David McGuinty. Questions have been swirling in Ottawa this month over the future of the snowbirds, amid the possibility that the team could be grounded for years after this season. Pressed by the Conservatives last week, McGuinty said the team would continue air demonstrations for as long as the aging Tudor fleet is feasible and safe. A new Nanos research poll shows Canadians are split on what they think should happen when a member of Parliament decides to switch parties.
Floor crossing has really been a lightning point right across the political spectrum and across the country. Disagreement, division on this whole idea of what should happen when an MP resigns, and especially when that MP wants to cross the floor to another party.
Respondents were evenly divided on the issue, with 34% saying an MP should resign and run in a by-election. 32% said an MP should sit as an independent until the next election, while 30% said they should be allowed to switch parties. The remaining 4% were unsure. To Nigeria now, where U.S. President Donald Trump says the second in command of ISIS across the globe has been killed in an operation conducted by U.S. and Nigerian forces. Trump reported the death of Abu Bilal al-Menuki on social media last night, saying American and Nigerian armed forces worked together in a mission to eliminate, quote, the most active terrorist in the world from the battlefield. The U.S. previously carried out strikes targeting Islamic State-linked militants in Nigeria in December. Since then, Washington has deployed drones and 200 troops to provide support to Nigeria against Islamic State and al-Qaeda-linked insurgencies across West Africa. An Israeli airstrike on Gaza City has killed at least 7 people, including a senior member of Hamas and a young child. Israel says Izz al-Din al-Haddad was one of the architects of the deadly October 7th attacks. The airstrike destroyed a residential building and left dozens injured. The violence comes amid a shaky ceasefire that continues to hold despite accusations of violations of the agreement by both sides. Some 850 Palestinians as well as 4 Israeli soldiers have been killed in airstrikes since the ceasefire began in October. Well, the federal government here in Canada is warning of potential travel disruptions for Canadians abroad during the busy summer season due to the war in Iran. And as CTV's Alex Karpa explains, the government's ability to provide assistance to Canadians who end up stranded may be limited.
Yeah, so here's me in Paris.
Genevieve Joachim is an experienced traveler who has worked in the industry for more than 2 decades, but a growing number of travel advisories is making her more cautious about traveling.
We're just going to kind of have to see how this unfolds.
The federal government has warned Canadians about possible disruptions this summer, pointing to global fuel and supply chain issues that could impact travel for months.
It's an unfortunate situation, but it's a sign of the times, right? It's not something we can change, so we just got to roll with the punches.
The advisory calls international travel a personal choice, noting that help for stranded Canadians abroad may be limited. It recommends Canadians get trip cancellation and interruption insurance. But one expert says coverage may not apply if delays are linked to the jet fuel shortage.
One who buys cancellation or interruption right now will not have a claim approved or paid if it's linked to the jet fuel shortage crisis. And that's a big point.
Travel insurance covers events that are unexpected, but as the fuel shortage worsens, those in the industry say it is now being treated as a known issue.
If you haven't booked your travel insurance yet, those underwriters will not include that within the coverage for trip cancellation interruption policy.
Experts say Canadians should expect delays, cancellations, and other disruptions tied to the fuel shortage during the busy summer travel season. Alex Karpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
We get to come out here and, hopefully impact the youth a little bit, and that's, huge, especially when it comes to sports.
Still ahead, the NFL flag football tournament is in the capital. We'll tell you which NFL star athletes took part, including an Ottawa native, when we come back. Before we go to break, there's a live look through our Centennial Glass Skycam. It is 20 degrees. An NFL regional flag football tournament is taking place here in Ottawa this weekend with young teams from across Canada competing. The Ottawa Regionals, one of 6 tournaments that are being hosted across the country, featuring guest appearances from some NFL stars. CTV's Camille Wilson was at the event today. She's back in studio to tell us what it was like. Camille.
Well, Austin, how many young athletes can say that they've met real NFL players? Well, this was the case at the NFL Regionals tournament today, where 26 teams from across the country are competing to take home a big title and move on to some big championships. For this girls' flag football team, this is more than just a game.
We also want to show the boys that also girls can play football and not only boys. It's not only boys can do the sports, girls also. It's fun to prove them wrong.
These young athletes are among 26 teams competing in the NFL Flag Regional Tournament, with U10, U12, and U14 divisions bringing in youth teams from across Canada.
I feel like we're really fortunate and we're really lucky to be here. Some teams don't get to come play for the NFL. We think it's very fun that we can get to meet all these different players.
The Ottawa Regionals is one of 6 regional tournaments being hosted across the country.
Just giving these kids a chance to grow and have more opportunity to get better at the sport and hopefully represent the country one day.
The winners from this regional tournament will go on to the national championships, which will also take place here in Ottawa, and then those teams will have an opportunity to travel down to the United States, playing in an international showcase.
We have the confidence to win it all, and I think we have the team to win it all.
A surprise visit from 2 NFL players from the Chicago Bears, Rome Odunze and Ottawa native Neville Gallimore.
It's the greatest feeling in the world. You know, I love my city so much because I know there's a future here. You get to see these young kids that's grinding and battling.
We get to come out here and, hopefully impact the youth a little bit, and that's, huge, especially when it comes to sports, something I'm very passionate about.
What's the dream?
To win. NFL, win it all. Win a Super Bowl.
I'm a firm believer. Like I tell kids, don't be afraid to dream too big. They say sky's the limit. I don't think there is no limit. You can accomplish anything that you want to accomplish if you're willing to put in the work. Sacrifice.
Oh. For many of these young athletes, this opportunity is a dream come true.
It's actually kind of really fun because I never met actually NFL players before.
Well, amongst the big highlight for some of these young teams of meeting NFL stars, they are all hoping for the big win that will bring them to the 2026 Canadian National Championships, taking place in Ottawa from June 26th to 28th. Austin.
Yeah, Camille, that's a fun assignment. I know our director, Connor, is quite jealous. Thank you very much for this. CTV's Camille Wilson reporting live for us tonight. And a beautiful day to be outside at that tournament as well. We'll take our first full look at the weather forecast. But before we go over some of those nice conditions we have in store and are experiencing, we do want to show you some of the intense weather out west. People are dealing with a chaotic cleanup across southern Manitoba after a powerful windstorm and dust storm slammed the area. Trees toppled over, construction signs knocked down, and some steel shingles were ripped off apartment buildings and onto vehicles. Winds of 100 kilometers per hour kicked up clouds of dust at sometimes blotting out the sun. Manitoba Hydro scrambled to reconnect thousands of customers who lost power. And scenes like this, more like winter than spring yesterday in Saskatchewan. This golf course in Prince Albert forced to shut down, canceling a major tournament when a snowstorm rolled in. Officials say they hope to be able to open again on Sunday at the earliest. So it could be worse, Ottawa. We do have some cloud coverage and a chance of some showers as the evening progresses. It looks like, for the most part, it has moved over the region. Out east, it's pretty cool in St. John's, 4 degrees right there, and some rain in the forecast, too. Warms up significantly as you make your way out west. Charlottetown at 20. Fredericton at 25 degrees. We're currently sitting at 19, so we've dropped by 1 degree over the course of the show. 25 degrees in Windsor, 21 in Toronto. We have some beautiful warm conditions in store. More on that in just a moment. It is nasty out in the prairies, at least in some parts of the prairies. Saskatoon, some rain, some slush at times. 3 degrees right now. 15 in Regina, 6 in Edmonton, and 3 in Calgary. Calgary also has had some snow today. They just can't catch a break on these May-long weekends. Seems like it's always a snowstorm. Down in Cowtown, 14 degrees right now. in Vancouver with mainly sunny conditions. So we're getting down to 11 here in Ottawa tonight. A chance of showers, as I mentioned, carrying through the evening. 22 for tomorrow afternoon, mainly sunny conditions. And then it's a similar story for the Ottawa Valley, albeit slightly cooler tomorrow afternoon at 19 degrees and mainly sunny. As for the Seaway, 22, that's the high. Same here in Ottawa. 12 degrees for this evening. So basically copy and paste. That's what we're expecting all across the region. But look at this warm up. 22 degrees tomorrow, 29 on Monday, 28 degrees on Tuesday, 25 on Wednesday. So flirting with that 30-degree mark on both Monday and Tuesday, staying in the 20s until we get to 17 degrees, which is the high on Thursday. And with that warmer weather here in the capital, splash pads across the city are now open. Today marks. Got ahead of myself. Today marks the first day of splash pads reopening here in Ottawa. Most operate from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. They are expected to remain open until September 20th, weather permitting. 10 splash pads, however, across Ottawa are still closed for repairs. You can find more information on the city's website.
They need to open it because the crimes are getting worse.
Coming up, it's a plan to address overcrowding in the prison system. After the break, we'll take a closer look at a jail reopening in Ontario.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, Your Morning Ottawa, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
An afternoon of Polish food, culture, and dance in the ByWard Market. This is all for Ottawa Polish Fest today. This is a family favorite for many right here in the heart of the city. The event featuring out-of-town guests, vendors, and an authentic dance party, which will cap off the night. Well, the Ford government is moving to reopen a jail in Brantford as part of a larger plan to address overcrowding in the province's prison system. CTV's Karis Mapp has more on the reaction from local residents.
I think it's great because we've got so many people and the court systems just don't know where to put them.
They need to open it because the crimes are getting worse everywhere in this city.
Conversation is circulating about the plan to reopen the Brantford jail. Tucked behind Brantford Superior Court of Justice, the jail has been closed since 2017, a decision that some residents say they felt indifferent about at the time.
I didn't care one way or another. I wasn't involved in it. I was involved in other stuff, but I think it's good that it's being opened now.
When the jail closed, 77 inmates, along with staff, were all moved to other correctional facilities. But now the plan is to reopen it under a wider plan by the provincial government to increase jail capacity.
Ontarians can rest assured knowing that if you break the law, we will have room for you in our jails.
The plan is to add 2,500 beds across Ontario over the next 10 years and hire 700 new correctional officers. The jail plans include expanding and modernizing some facilities while reopening the ones in Brantford and Walkerton. Government data obtained through Freedom of Information laws shows, on average, there were more than 11,000 inmates inside provincial jails last year, about 2,500 more than the system's average capacity.
The province needs more prison capacity. And by being able to refurbish the Brantford jail, we can do so at a reasonable cost.
Some Brantford residents telling CTV News they see this as a positive for the community, which they feel has seen too much crime.
I don't even go out after a certain time of night anymore because it's not safe. I don't understand why they closed it in the first place. Because it's costing people more money to transport them back and forth.
Prison transfers, waiting for court hearings, had to sit in vans until they could be seen instead of being held in holding cells at the jail.
And some also see the well-being of inmates as a factor.
A lot of people that were from Brantford were able to go into that jail and their families could go visit them.
The province plans to reopen the Brantford jail sometime in 2028. Karis Mapp, CTV News, Brantford.
In tonight's big picture, some students in Surrey, British Columbia hung out with some special dogs on Friday as BC Hydro introduces the newest members of its safety team. These four-legged robots are named Spot, Spark, and Bolt, and they help support crews with inspections, substation patrols, and accessing hard-to-reach places. The robotic dogs have built-in cameras and sensors used to detect issues early before outages happen. BC Hydro says the goal is to keep workers safe while making the electrical system more reliable. Turning now to some of the other stories that you need to know right now. The Ottawa Red Blacks putting on a special annual event for the fans this afternoon. FanFest taking over TD Place Stadium today, giving fans a front row seat to an open practice. There was an autograph session with the players as well, and plenty of activities. Fans also had a chance to sample some of the new food and drink menu items ahead of the CFL season. The Red Blacks kick off a new season at TD Place Stadium against the Edmonton Elks on June 6th.
Shifley, goal behind the net. Velarde, boom. Celebrini, Bouchard shoots, scores!
Team Canada remains undefeated at the Hockey World Championship in Switzerland after a dominant 6-0 win over the Italians today. 19-year-old team captain Macklin Celebrini with 2 goals and an assist in this game to lead the way for the Canadians. The team is now 2-0 to start the tournament. Canada plays next Monday morning against Denmark.
And now, Davidoff again, fires, scores! There it is!
And Canada's last standing NHL team, the Montreal Canadiens, take on the Buffalo Sabres once again tonight. Game 6 presents the Habs with an opportunity to knock out Buffalo and move on to the Eastern Conference Final. Tonight's game is in Montreal. It gets underway at 8 o'clock. The Governor General has stripped 2 people of the Order of Canada, the country's highest civilian honor. Former SNC-Lavalin CEO Jacques Lamar was made officer of the Order of Canada in 2005 before he was found guilty of collusion and corruption related to the firm's work in Libya. Peter Dalglish, founder of the charity Street Kids International, was named a member in 2016. He was convicted of sexually abusing 2 young boys in Nepal.
We have seen an increase in the UK of the number of cases that show positive indication for the presence or use of this salt.
Coming up, CTV's W5 investigates the disturbing prevalence of so-called suicide kits that are linked to dozens of deaths around the world.
iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barhaven Ford, Ottawa's newest and largest Ford store, and Eastern Ontario's Ford EV leader.
It is time now to check in with our iHeartRadio Weekender, Tanea Taylor. Tanea.
If you're still looking for plans this weekend, you can catch Barhaven Rib Fest and Poutine Fest through Monday at Clark Fields Park. Enjoy ribs, barbecue, poutine, live music, and fun for the kids as well. Make sure you are hungry before you head to that one. Next up today, Atletico Ottawa takes on the Halifax Wanderers tomorrow at TD Place. It's also the Toonie hot dog match, so definitely a fun one for soccer fans of all ages. Always so much fun cheering on a local sports team, if I do say so myself. Kickoff is at 1 p.m. As usual, lots more happening this weekend around the capital. The full list and all the details are at ctvottawa.ca/weekenders. For the iHeartRadio Weekenders, I'm Tanea Taylor. Have a great one.
iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barhaven Ford, Ottawa's newest and largest Ford store, and Eastern Ontario's Ford EV leader.
Well, in case you missed it this week, to win a NASCAR Canada race, it takes more than just 4 wheels and a massively powered engine. It comes down to skill and talent. CTV's Peter Sperling introduces us to an Ottawa driver who is exceeding expectations.
Start your engines and strap in. This is Ottawa's very own NASCAR Canada racing driver.
Hi, I'm Connor Bell, and this is my race car.
A high-performance, powered, adrenaline-inducing machine.
We sling it around the track at 260 kilometers an hour. We've got 32 cars racing us at a time, and we try and battle it out for the win.
And win he does. The 20-year-old beat everyone else during his first NASCAR Canada start last summer at Calibogie.
It made us only the second person in NASCAR Canada Series history to win on debut, so it was a pretty special event.
He's amped for more.
I do it for the adrenaline, honestly. It's the speed, you know, it always provides that adrenaline rush, and it never gets old.
Speed, that comes from power and skill.
It's pretty crazy. It's a lot of horsepower. There's no traction control or ABS in these things. Quite the ride, and you got to manage that power through all 4 gears.
He got into this from his father.
He's been racing most of his life, and naturally when I was young, I was at the track from I think 2 years old onwards.
But how do you learn to drive this and race? Some start with karting. For Bell,
I've had a little bit of a different path developing as a race car driver. I did most of my development on racing simulators. So that's kind of where I learned all the basics.
Racing is an expensive sport. He says a typical car costs near $200,000. That's where a title sponsor, Diamond Storage, representing the Diamond Foundation, comes in.
We were only able to do this because of our wonderful sponsors.
He's kicking off this season at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park in Bowmanville near Toronto, and enthusiastic about this season.
Really looking forward to putting on a show.
Peter Sperling, CTV News.
A major seller of so-called suicide kits linked to at least 150 deaths around the world is expected to plead guilty in an Ontario courtroom. However, an investigation by CTV's W5 is looking into why other deaths from the same chemical sold in the kits appear to be continuing. CTV's John Woodward has that story.
Muy buena hija, muy buena amiga.
These photos represent the life of Yesenia Bedoya Lopez that she once shared with her parents, Leonardo and Maria.
Yo no tengo palabras
I don't have the words. She was my friend, my confidant, my light.
They described how they had come to Ontario from Colombia, first settling in Thunder Bay and then the Greater Toronto area. Yesenia was passionate about leadership, attending a program with the York Regional Police. But as the pandemic wore on, the isolation took its toll on the 18-year-old. Her parents admitted her to a local hospital for depression in 2022. She was discharged. That's when Yesenia went online and found out about deadly products offered by a company operated by former chef Kenneth Law, sold as suicide kits. In September 2022, they found Yesenia dead.
Her veins were very dark, very black. There's nothing natural about what happened.
A harrowing scene that may have played out at the homes of some 13 other families, including 21-year-old Stephen Mitchell and 19-year-old Ashton Prosser Blake. Kenneth Law was charged with murder in those deaths. He is now expected to plead guilty to 14 counts of aiding and abetting suicide. Around the world, a tally by W5 found the products connected to at least 150 deaths.
The chemical itself is a legal food preservative. It's only in high concentrations when it's deadly. When Kenneth Law was arrested, deaths tied to that substance dropped, but they didn't stop.
New data W5 collected from coroners across Canada show the particular poison Law sold, often abbreviated as SN, was linked to just 3 deaths across the country in 2018. In 2020, that had jumped to 31, staying that high for years, until dropping after Kenneth Law was arrested in 2023. But not to 0. In 2024, there were 17 deaths linked to the chemical. In 2025, there were 11.
Since 2019, we've seen an increase in the number of cases being sent to my laboratory.
Professor Amrita Ahluwalia said that trend is continuing in her home country of the United Kingdom, where 112 deaths were linked to Kenneth Law.
All I can be certain of is that we have seen an increase in the UK of the number of cases that show positive indication for the presence or use of this salt.
Law often marketed his products on a pro-suicide website that W5 is not naming. That, too, has new posts swapping tips about finding a legit source for Canada. The UK issued fines equivalent to almost $2 million to that site, but Canada doesn't have the same legal tools. Health Canada told W5 in a statement they asked tech company Google to delist the site. Google told them to get a court order. The agency says this matter has been referred to law enforcement. Yesenia's parents don't want anyone to easily access this chemical, as they are pushing to keep her memory alive. As for Law, he is now expected to plead guilty to 14 counts of aiding and abetting suicide. With that plea, he's avoided a murder trial.
Charge him with murder. There are many deaths, too many deaths.
He's an assassin. He's a serious assassin. We know what he's done, and he should be charged as such.
They are watching the hearing closely and want Law's punishment to fit his crimes. John Woodward, CTV News.
Coming up, no mowing the lawn in May. We'll tell you why many people wait until the end of the month to cut their grass on the other side of the break. With all the rain and now the warmer weather, the grass and spring flowers are starting to grow, and several municipalities, including Gatineau, will let them grow until at least the end of the month for Mow May. And while it's supposed to be a way to help the bees, some wonder if it will. CTV's Denise Roberts has more from a town just west of Montreal.
At Parc des Éperviers, there are dandelions everywhere you look. That's because Notre-Dame de l'Île Perrot is among several municipalities in Vaudreuil-Soulanges choosing not to mow the grass until the end of May.
It's more than 70% of municipalities in the area who do that. Probably because we do have a lot of agriculture areas.
Agriculture depends on pollinators, bees and other insects that feed on wildflowers. Mayor Denis Deschênes says 5 years ago they decided to let the dandelions go to seed.
I can't wait for them to be, done and over with like everybody else. But it's not, it's not a thing that we should be cutting just because it doesn't look good enough.
That means all municipal properties are left unmowed, except for children's play areas. Deschênes says while many residents here also embrace Mow May, others don't.
We understand that it's a choice, and we also understand that scientifically it's being challenged.
That's because the No Mow campaign has its roots in England, and dandelions aren't native to Quebec, according to plant ecologist Christy Lovett.
Dandelions, in their natural environment in Europe, are an important food source for native Eurasian pollinators. Over here, the type of pollen they produce actually tends to be a little bit nutritionally unbalanced.
She says bumblebees need better nutrition, especially found in wild violets that also sprout up in May. Tree pollen is another go-to source, while grass itself has little nutritional value. And it's not just bees that are hungry after winter.
Beetles are our most numerous pollinator, and then we have the hoverflies, butterflies, moths. All of these can also benefit.
Lovett says the more biodiversity you can support in your lawn, the better.
It is still beneficial to not mow your lawn in early spring, especially in urban areas where there might not be as many native wildflowers or native trees to provide other pollen sources.
Giving nature a little more time to take its course. Denise Roberts, CTV News.
Coming up, a mix of technology and religion in South Korea. We'll tell you about the latest monks taking part in that country's annual Lotus Lantern Festival after the break. Before we go to break, there's a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. Some cloud coverage here in Ottawa. It's 19 degrees.
Hairstyles, courtesy of Salon Fiorella.
Here's a recap of the top local stories we're following right now.
To give our staff just a little bit of a break. They work really hard, so we just want to give them the day off.
New changes to Ontario's Retail Business and Holiday Act means stores and malls across the province can open on Victoria Day if they want to. And that means the LCBO will be open on Victoria Day for the first time.
I like the glow up. It's vibrant.
A new vendor village filled with local makers, food, and flowers kicks off in the historic ByWard Market. The village creating new opportunities for local business owners.
We get to come out here and, hopefully impact the youth a little bit, and that's, huge, especially when it comes to sports.
And NFL stars like Rome Odunze, who we just heard from. They're in the capital this weekend for the NFL Regional Flag Football Tournament, the event featuring young teams from across Canada. And it was a beautiful day for that tournament as well. We did get some rain a little bit later in the afternoon. It looks like we're waking up to nice conditions as well. Mostly sunny conditions with 13 degrees and then getting up to a daytime high of 22. 29 is the high on Monday, 28 on Tuesday with a 30% chance of showers. But they're knocking on the 30-degree mark's door with some of these temperatures to start the work week and then dipping off back into the high teens by Thursday. Well, time now to see what our news team will be working on for tonight. CTV's Natalie Van Roy is anchoring The Late Show. Natalie.
Thanks, Austin. Well, as the weather warms up, many people will be hitting the beaches right across Ontario this weekend. Tonight at 11:30, we introduce you to new technology that is being introduced at Kincardine beaches to help keep people safe. Now, it's a new system to warn beachgoers of unsafe swimming conditions, which is being installed on Kincardine's public shoreline. Now, 6 people have drowned and 7 more people have almost drowned in those waters off the coast since 2008. And get the news anytime, anywhere at ctvnewsottawa.ca. And join me tonight for CTV News at 11:30.
Thank you, Natalie. Looking forward to that. And finally for us tonight, the convergence of spirituality and tech.
Humanoid robots turned Buddhist monks in South Korea led the annual Lotus Lantern Festival, celebrating the upcoming birthday of the Buddha.
This is robot monk Gabby, who debuted as a monk at a Buddhist initiation ceremony earlier this month. He marched through the streets of Seoul alongside fellow robot monks for almost 40 minutes. The 4 feet tall robot monks, dressed in traditional robes, were seen waving to the crowd and pressing their palms together during the parade. I don't know how I feel about this, but I'm pretty sure I don't like it.
Yeah, it's interesting. They look pretty realistic.
It's a little freaky. Thanks for watching, everybody. Good night.